Welcome back to another episode of All or Nothing in Real Estate. I'm your host, Matt Smith, the founder of All or Nothing in Real Estate. Guys, a reminder, this podcast is a movement to give back to this amazing industry that's given so much to me and my family. And today I'm coming at you live from Cabo at an event, getting information to educate myself so I can pass it through and be a vessel to help you grow your life and your business. And if you're watching on video, just check out this amazing view. I literally just stepped out of a conference where I'm learning so much information that I will unpack for you guys. And I needed to do an intro because I made a commitment to give you a podcast each and every week. So what we did, we went to the vault. We went to all things marketing. All things marketing we've talked about over these last 2.5 years that have been impactful, from social media, how to get emails to open at 60% rate to convert that to sales, how to craft and articulate your unique selling proposition, how to master social media, all things marketing. This is going to be an episode and a mashup of a marketing masterclass. I hope you enjoy. Real estate agents, we suck at marketing and we need to get better.
If you think that you're going to hire an expert company and they're going to fix your marketing, you're wrong. You cannot delegate your push-ups. You have to go in the trenches. You have to lead by example. You have to go through it yourself. Welcome back to another episode of All or Nothing in Real Estate. I am Matt Smith, the founder of All or Nothing in Real Estate. This podcast is a movement to give back to the industry that has given so much to me. In this episode, we're going to focus on one of the most crucial aspects of building a successful real estate business. Not only is it crucial, but a lot of teams that I coach, a lot of agents I talk to are missing this element and don't know how to do it properly. So we're going to dive deep into that, and that element is marketing. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to take your existing business to a whole new level, marketing is absolutely essential for long-term growth and financial success. So in this episode, we'll be sharing our secret strategies. We're going to break down the tools and techniques that have helped us become the number one real estate company in the state of Missouri. And to help dive deep on this topic, I'm joined by our lovely and brilliant, that's what it says on the paper, so I have to read it, by our lovely and brilliant marketing director, Jenna Swift. Jenna, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. This is something that you and I are both passionate about, and I think it's a huge message to market match. There's a lot of real estate agents that either don't understand marketing or aren't maximizing as much as they could be. So today we're going to dive in from a brand new agent that has never even had a Facebook post, or to someone that already has a marketing company. How can you enhance? So we're going to break that down all in one episode. So Jenna, let's get started. If you were talking to an agent that wanted to increase marketing, I think where we should start is maybe the why. Why is marketing important to a real estate business?
Well, marketing is going to be what keeps you at your top of mind for your clients. So you want your clients. So if you had a choice between working with a client who has no idea who you are, you have to buy and earn their trust right there on the spot. You could do that. Or you could have a client who already knows you, likes you, and trusts you because they've seen you literally everywhere. They've heard testimonials. They've had friends talk about you. They've seen your video content. They've seen your emails. They've seen all sorts of stuff, and that's why they've come to you. The obvious choice would be that they know you, like you, and trust you. And that's what marketing and branding does for you.
You've already built that authority score is what I like to call it. We actually talked about that in our team and sales meeting today. A couple of agents were sharing the fact that one story was, I had a consult over the weekend with a new buyer, and they said, I chose to work with your company 6 months ago. You guys just didn't know it yet because of the marketing and content we put out there. It's amazing whenever you do this and you keep it up sustainable and you have a marketing presence, but also you're able to build a brand, what you can actually do over time. And it makes it to where we all know as real estate agents, and as Jenna said, would you rather work with a bunch of friends? Would you rather work with a bunch of strangers, right? People that already know you, like you, and trust you. And if you do marketing correctly, you can educate, inform, and entertain your audience, and you can create more quote unquote friends and enhance your sphere of influence to help market for you. Absolutely. And that's where you can really have that compound effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so where to start? I'll tell a quick story about where I started. I remember when I was first into real estate, there's this cool thing called Facebook. And there was a lot of people that were like, I literally had friends and families I started in real estate say, why do you keep posting all this stuff? I'm going to unfollow you. I'm like, are you going to buy or sell a house for me? Well, no. Okay, cool. Unfollow me. I'm not talking to you, right? I'm talking to people that want to buy or sell real estate. And I went all in on that. And it was just me, myself, and I. I didn't have a fancy marketing department. I didn't have an education. I just learned by doing, right? And so one of the things that I really enjoy reflecting back, looking at that, I remember being at Walmart and people would come up and be like, hey, you're the Facebook guy. Right. I remember I was actually at an auction to purchase an investment property. And some guy said, oh, wait a minute. I see you on Facebook all the time. Like, it was a constant thing over time that I built because I constantly put myself out there and educated, informed, and entertained the audience. I let them know I'm a real estate agent. I'm here to help you. Here's other client success stories, and able to build that brand over time to where people recognize me because of the marketing. And at this time, I didn't know what ads were. All this was organic, right? And so you're able to do that, and you can start and you can scale to whatever level that you want, which we'll go into a little bit later. We'll talk about how we've scaled it to using ads and different things. But if you're a new agent starting out, just start somewhere. Just start posting behind the scenes, your day in the life, success stories of your other clients, different things that you are hearing from your current buyers or sellers. Like, what problems or obstacles or questions do they have? There's your content.
Yeah. I think that one thing that's really important that you hit on, I was talking with another team leader last week who was talking about their marketing program, and they were like, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. And there's just so much. And it's like you can look at everything because there's always so much that needs to be done. Even as the number one team in Missouri, we still have so much growth and so much potential to move forward. And my recommendation was, don't look at that big mountain and think I have to tackle it all at once. Take it into bite-sized pieces, take it one at a time, and eventually you'll gain that momentum and you'll be where you want to be. But right now, taking that first step is so crucial. Even if you don't know what that first step is, just take a step.
Yeah, you have to prioritize what number one, depending on your situation, right? So number one, which would be the biggest needle mover for your business. Number two is, what do I have the time and capacity for? And like, I would put those two in a column and find which ones are commonalities, and that's where I would go all in at first. For me, it was Facebook, right? I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have an email marketing campaign. I didn't have a video like schedule. It was literally Facebook posts and pictures, right? Like that's all I had the skill set or the capacity for, and it worked. And so figure out what it is that you're going to do and go all in. Like, I mean, the name of this podcast, All or Nothing, right? If you can't master everything overnight, like we talk about this, and I kind of struggle with it because I want everything to be perfect, right? And I'm constantly coming up with new ideas. Like, I want us to have the best YouTube channel. I want us to have the best Facebook. I want us to have the best emails. I want us to have the best Instagram. But the reality is, if you focus on all those areas at once, you're not going to get the most out of the areas that you should be focusing on. So start somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, go all in on what you want to do and what you have the capacity to do. I think that right there is gold advice for anyone starting out, is figuring out what you have the capacity for and what you're good at, because some people have natural talent in writing or in graphic design or in video or just talking to people. Like, whatever your natural talent is, utilize that to your benefit. Find that leverage.
A little later on in this podcast, we have an actual proven process that we've been coached on and that we coach to help other people come up with that consistent content and how to distribute it. So stay tuned. We'll go into that in depth later. If you're thinking, well, I just need to know what content, it's coming. We'll give you exact roadmap of what works. Fantastic. I think another important step is getting clarity on what you want to accomplish with marketing, right? So what are your goals around marketing? Why are you marketing? Because I believe wholeheartedly, and I think, Jenna, you would agree, that there's a difference in marketing and branding, but they can run very parallel. And so when I say create clarity around your marketing goals, like, what advice would you give people that are wanting to start their marketing and ramp it up? Like, what clarity do they need to find?
I think for one, you need to figure out what your vision is. You need to figure out who your audience is, who you're talking to, and how consistently you want to talk to them. Now, is this an everyday thing? Like, again, what do you have the capacity for? But finding that clarity on who your audience is and what's the best avenue to get to that audience. It could be through Facebook. It could be through Instagram, whichever that avenue is, or email marketing. It could be whatever, but go all in on that avenue, and that clarity, just that little piece of it, is going to help build your entire marketing.
Here's what I will tell you. Whichever one you focus on, you put as your priority. If you do it properly and you focus on it, you give it enough time and you do it properly, it will work. whichever one you choose will work if you choose one. But where people go wrong is they do it I did it for 30 days and I didn't have a result. Well, it takes longer than that in some cases, right? You should have a little bit of momentum, but it takes time, right? Like as an example, the analogy I gave earlier that literally happened in our team meeting this morning, this lady decided she wanted to work with us 6 months ago, but she didn't tell us that. Mm-hmm. Like, have you given it 6 months? Have you given it 12 months of consistent effort? And before you wait for that results, like I was fortunate to be at an event last week in Myrtle Beach speaking at the Connection Summit. And one of the things I talked about was a superpower to build your roadmap to success is being able to delay gratification. Mm-hmm. And marketing is an amazing example of that. You can't fall in love with the likes. You can't fall in love with the comments. There are people out there that are seeing your content consistently if you do it properly. But you have to give it the time on task. You have to build that reputation over time so people know you, like you, and trust you.
Exactly. And I think about our recruiting strategy. That's something that if you have this, maybe you have this strategy or this campaign you're running and you run it once and you don't get anybody in it, or you feel like it didn't perform well or whatever, the worst thing you can do at that point is just quit and say, well, it didn't work. I guess I'll never do it again. Yep. The more consistent you are in doing those things, the more and more momentum it'll give. So you can't give up at that first letdown because it's kind of inevitable. If you're not putting enough value into your market, and you have to identify that with you and say, okay, am I depositing enough to withdraw at that point? If you're not, keep depositing, and eventually you'll get that withdrawal. 100%.
You have to give 10 times over before you can receive, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have to, you're fighting an uphill battle from the beginning. And so I think not a lot of people will tell you that because it's not sexy and it doesn't sell. But the truth is, if you haven't started marketing yet, it's going to be tough and it's going to take a lot of time to get that momentum. But if you're willing to push through, not a lot of people get past that first hump. Mm-hmm. And what happens is you build, like, I use an analogy all the time, and I think marketing is pretty relative. But as you get started, it's like pushing a snowball up a hill. Mm-hmm. As you start pushing the snowball up the hill gets steeper, but the snowball gets bigger. It gets tougher and tougher. And you look back down and you're like, shit, why am I still going? Like, I pushed the snowball pretty far. Like, I'm tired of pushing the snowball. Mm-hmm. But you have to keep going because eventually what goes up must come down, mm-hmm. right? And you'll get to the crest of that hill. And what is cool about the snowball analogy, what happens if you're pushing a snowball up the hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But at the top of the hill, it starts rolling down by itself and it still gets bigger. Mm-hmm. And it starts building that momentum. It picks up more snow. It picks up more momentum as it's coming back down the hill. Yeah. And I think that's such a great analogy for marketing is that it takes time to build that momentum. But over time, if you do it consistently, it makes a massive, massive impact on your business. And going back to what you said at the very beginning is, if you had to choose your target audience, would you rather choose people that actually know you, like you, and trust you? The way that you get to extend that is by, yes, taking care of your clients and serving them at a very high level. But what if you can actually market that and tell those success stories, tell that message to multiple people through different channels through marketing? Now people start hearing your stories. Like literally, you talked about our recruiting campaign. Mm-hmm. Every single person, like we have, this is just transparency. We have over 330 people in our recruiting funnel right now that applied for a job. Mm-hmm. How many posts did we make over the last 12 months? Do you remember?
Oh, it was 70 something or 80 something.
That were strictly recruiting posts. Mm-hmm. So it takes time to build that, right? And I don't say that to brag. I say that to show that consistent effort over time works. But what happens is the first 30 days, we didn't have any momentum. We're like revamping. What do we need to do differently? What do we need to change? Mm-hmm. But if you're able to do that consistently over time, it makes a big, big difference.
Yeah.
I had a different point there, but I forgot. Maybe we'll come back later.
Well, and I'll say you were talking about the knowing you, liking you, and trusting you. I think about new agents when you're first prospecting. Who do you contact first? You don't contact this pool of people you don't know first. You contact your sphere of influence first. That's what that marketing and branding is going to do to you. It's going to build that sphere of influence for you.
100%. It helps spread whatever message you want to spread on a massive scale.
Yeah.
And I think the momentum piece, right? Like, so you can't get frustrated whenever people don't like your post or you need to measure things, but you also need to make sure that you're doing it consistently enough to where they trust your message. What I mean by that is we've all seen people that, let's use health and fitness as an example. They have a New Year's resolution of they want to get in better shape and be healthy, which I absolutely admire. That's good for them. But how many people fall off after the first 3 weeks? Like 98% of people, right? Like there's a study out there, New Year's resolutions within the first 3 weeks, like 98% of them are already broken. Are you doing that with your marketing? Or are you building that trust over time and that authority score with your audience that they can trust you to be a marketing resource?
Yeah.
Like everything runs parallel in life. So I think it's super important that you keep that consistent message. And a lot of times people ask me too, and Jen, I'm kind of jumping ahead. I'm curious your opinion. See if because we haven't talked about this, but what would you say to the agent that says, well, what if I'm worried that I'm going to overpost, that I'm going to provide too much content, or I'm going to flood my audience and they're going to unfollow me? What would you say to them?
I'd say flood it, man. You've got your audience is so wide and it's bigger than you know, because the people, just because they're not liking your stuff or commenting on your stuff doesn't mean they're not seeing it. So the more frequently you post, the more eyes you're getting on it, and you're getting different eyes on it. And just to assume that, it's like in leadership, you say something once to your team, you need to say it 7 times before they understand. You can't just post something once and expect your audience to retain it forever and ever, amen. You need to post it consistently so that way it continues to stay top of mind. And when you're like, hey, actually, I haven't posted about that in a while, that means your audience has forgotten about it. You need to post it again.
Like literally, I remember you and I were building a funnel one time, and she said, how many times do you want, what frequency do you want on this? I said, I want to go until they say, you know what, if I see this one more time, I'm going to unfollow them. Whatever that number is, that's how many times I want to see it. Over and over and over and over. Like I remember, we've done several different marketing funnels, but like I remember one time we didn't tell the team we were pushing out one, and I had people come in the team meeting and they're like, my husband told me to tell you to quit putting videos out there. I'm tired of seeing your face. And I'm like, cool, it's working, right? And so you have to make sure that it's valuable content, but don't consume yourself with, I'm going to overpost or overflood. Now you have to do it strategically. Don't post 10 different posts back to back to back, right? Like filter them out throughout the day. But you have to realize the world we live in. I probably should know this number, but I don't remember what the number of distractions that we get every single day, but it is in the thousands, like tens of thousands of distractions as a human being that we get every single day. And so you're just one of those. Like this is interruption marketing, whether you want to admit it or not, it is. But you have to have enough value when you interrupt them and enough frequency that they know who you are, so you build that trust and authority. So don't be afraid to overpost.
Yeah, and the threshold is a lot higher than you think it is. So most people are like, well, I don't want to post more than 3 because I just feel like my audience is uncomfortable with that. Well, feelings are wonderful and all, but that threshold is probably a lot higher.
But Jen is saying she doesn't care about your feelings.
I don't care about your feelings, yeah. But that threshold is so much higher than you think it is. We post up to 7 to 10 times a day on multiple platforms. And initially, if you would have told me that a year ago, I'd been like, you are overkilling it. But I have gotten no complaints from our audience at all. I have gotten nothing but positive feedback, and our numbers are proving it because they're continually growing. We're getting new followers, more engagement, more reach.
I just got a notification this morning that 84 consecutive days your Facebook business page has grown.
Exactly. And we're posting more. And so until the numbers tell me otherwise, I'm going to keep going for it.
Well, that goes to another point too, and I'm jumping ahead here, but it's so important. That's a great point. But I think part of that is because we focus on the message, and our message matches the market. We look at what is going on in the marketplace. We look at what our audience engages with, and we post more of that. What do they like? All right, this is what they are. This is what they need. This is what they like. How do we combine them to give them what they need in combination with what they like? Right? It's educate and inform. It's huge in this marketplace. While this market is shifting, interest rates are going crazy. Do you have an education that is content that's consistently out there, being consistently in front of them on how you can solve their problem that they have? Because if they're relying on mainstream media for the news, it's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for them. Right. Not to get political, but it's just mainstream media. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. It's bogus. It doesn't tell the news anymore. It's clickbait, right? It's all negativity because that's what sells. So you have to be the realness in real estate. You have to be the go-to resource. I get asked all the time, Matt, how can I partner with you? I love what I learned in your podcast. I love what you said in this speech. I love the success that your team has created, and I want to be a part of it. I want to partner with you. How can I work with you? Our team has been with eXp Realty since 2018. And we love eXp for how the collaboration, the community, all the support they provide to our team and our business. And so if you're interested in learning how can I partner with Matt, what do the options look like? You can have coaching. I have a lot of free stuff like I'm giving you on this podcast, but there's so many other ways that we can partner together and we can be in alignment, and we can collaborate, and we can actually help you grow your business through a strategic partnership. Imagine being in financial alignment with the people that you looked up to, the people that you took advice from, and you actually work together to create a community where teams are working with each other and collaborating versus competing. So if this interests you, text me, partner, to 573-261-6778. I want to be the go-to for everything. I want to be the go-to for what is going on in the real estate market. I want to be the go-to for which restaurant should I eat at this weekend. I want to be the go-to for what community events are happening this weekend. I want to be the go-to for any educational resource on if I'm considering buying or selling. So much so that it's so valuable that one of your friends sees it and sends it to another friend because it'll help them in their buying or selling journey. Now I'm providing value to the marketplace, and I'm being the go-to resource because I'm depositing that stuff that they need in the community.
Yeah.
Like, we have developed a reputation. We have earned it because we have amazing people and we have amazing marketing around it. And it's been very, very intentional that we are the go-to for a lot of things, right? Like, there's a lot of things that people come to us for. There's the things that the directors of the chambers have called me and asked me for my advice on this event, or, hey, would you like to be a part of this because we know you have a big presence. You love giving back to the community. Like, it's been very, very intentional, but it creates so much positive momentum in your business. Like, it's these little things. Like, I'll give a real life example of one of my coaching clients. It's absolutely crushing it, by the way. But him and I were talking about building out a recruiting campaign. And so I gave him all my tips on different things for recruiting. And he said, we came back the next week, and it still wasn't working. He was a little bit deflated. And I said, well, how well connected are you to the community? And so what does that have to do with it? I said, it has to do everything, right? Like, do you know the director of the chamber on a personal level? Do they know that you're hiring real estate agents? Like, are you a contributor to your community where they want to help contribute to your organization? Like, as real estate agents, we are a big, big part of our community. We help people with the biggest purchase or sale of their lives, the biggest purchase or sale in the community. Tell me something that's more expensive than real estate that people buy or sell in our community. There isn't one. So we are important to our community. It's important that we give back and contribute to the community. And as soon as he made that a focus, he went to chamber like luncheons and started like being a participation in that. He started networking with other businesses. He had 13 interviews last week with agents.
That's awesome.
Because he realized that marketing and contributing to the community was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those little things, guys, make a big, big difference. It's so important. Where do you want to go next, Jenna?
Let's talk about the building a team, or actually let's expand your reach through social media, because we've talked a lot about, going all in on something, identifying who your audience is. Now you need to start catering to that audience. You need to start feeding them that content. So I think the best thing to do with that is to talk about kind of how to do that. I mean, social media is a massive, massive thing. You've got a lot of different avenues. And like I said before, it's easy to get overwhelmed really, really quickly. So building that bottom line content schedule, I think, is going to be important. On Mondays, you're going to post something motivational. Tuesdays, testimonial. Wednesday could be to a buyer. Kind of figure out your content schedule from there, and then figure out multi-channel marketing on top of that.
Sure. And so multi-channels means social media is one channel. You can also do paid social media advertising, right? You can boost your post. We should probably do a podcast on Facebook ads and different things too. I think that may be helpful.
Yeah.
And then also there's other channels. There's email, right? There is all the social channels. So yes, Facebook is still a thing. Like, I saw someone, an quote unquote influencer, was talking about how they don't focus on Facebook anymore because its audience is dying. Maybe that's a fact. However, what do we sell? If you're listening to this podcast, what do you sell every single day? Real estate. The Facebook audience is between 35 and 64. That is their target audience. Most of those people need information about buying or selling real estate. They're still there.
Yeah.
And you still need to provide value. Am I saying don't focus on Instagram, don't focus on TikTok? I'm not saying get rid of those things, but I'm saying don't discount Facebook, because the majority of home buyers are still on Facebook as their primary platform.
Yeah.
Just because if you're a younger agent or you hear all this hype of TikTok is taking over, which it absolutely is, that doesn't mean that's where your audience is. Can you use that to do branding? Absolutely. But you have to make sure that you are not discounting the channels that actually still work.
Right.
So you have YouTube, right? If your video is a huge part of our content, so you have to make sure you're doing video. Most people consume content through video, right? And so it helps your authority score. It helps provide that tremendous value. Here's a quick tip on video. We've done a couple podcasts on video too. I don't know the episodes, but go back through our archive and look through those. There's some very specific tips video related that you can go through and listen to. But I'll give you a quick tip on video is that most videos are consumed on mobile and they're consumed with the volume off. So do you have captions that people can clearly read what your video says? They will read a video before they'll read a post. And the algorithms on almost every platform loves video over post, loves video over pictures. And so it doesn't have to be fancy. We have an awesome studio. We have an amazing videographer. We have an amazing video editor. We have an amazing marketing team to help all that stuff be easier. But still to this day, what performs best is the organic stuff. I just pick up my phone and it's down and dirty. That's what performs best because people want real.
Yeah.
And so don't use that as an excuse or a crutch not to do video because it works tremendously. And it really helps build that brand. It goes back to, it's crazy how all this stuff ties in together. But it goes back to if I'm coaching a new agent or having a coaching conversation with someone about how to prospect better or follow up better, like communication is key. So I have a communication circle. 7% of how people receive communication is the words that you say. Only 7%. So if you just send a text, if you just send an email, if you just type a post, they have a 93% chance of not understanding your message properly. 37% is your tonality, how you say things. So if you're over the phone, that's why phone works better than email in sales, because you get that tonality. So you can, I don't know if audio posts are a thing, but that would work better than just a post. But if you do, there's 55% of how people receive communication is through visual, your body language. And so that's why it's so important that you're able to do that. When you're an agent and you're prospecting, you want to get face-to-face so they can see your body language. You would rather do a Zoom than a phone consult, right? You would rather be face-to-face because they can feel that energy and that body language. But when you do video, guess what? They receive 100% of that communication, not just 7% or not just that 38%, right?
Yeah.
It's so crucial that you understand how people consume content and how they understand the message as you intend it to be delivered.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of that.
And it's that relatability on top of that.
Yes.
I mean, so what's the statistic? Because I know you know it, of the likelihood of someone working with you if they've seen you face to face. It was like way up there.
67% of home buyers use the first agent they meet in person.
In person.
They work with, yep.
Imagine if you're on video and they already see your face regularly. They already know who you are. I mean, that's a foot in the door right there that they've seen your face.
Talk about raising your authority score? 100%.
Yeah. So that's a huge opportunity for you.
Yeah, I love it. So you mentioned multi-channel. So you have emails, right? We haven't dialed it in quite yet, but we have made massive leaps in our email marketing. Guys, let's go on a quick tangent here. Let's talk about the difference in branding and marketing. From Jenna's perspective, if you had to define the two and the differences and why you need both, like I'm putting you on the spot here, but what would you say?
So branding is, I always think about it as an alley-oop. The branding is the alley, and I don't know basketball. This is going to be a train wreck. But the branding is the alley, and the marketing is the oop. And so the branding sets you up for the success, and the marketing is what seals the deal for you. So you got to have both ends of the spectrum. Your branding is what's going to connect you to your audience. It's going to be the thing that keeps them top of mind. The marketing is what's going to get them in the door, and it's they're going to say, okay, yeah, I definitely want to work with you.
So branding is top of mind awareness, right? Like think about any billboard that you've ever seen. Think about most commercials that you see. Marketing has a call to action. Branding does not. That's how I separate the two. And so most of our content, if you look back through our content, Jenna, if you were to say, if that was the definition, that was a line in the sand between marketing and branding, I'd be willing to bet we post 85% branding posts.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's very, very rare that we ask for anything or we say, hey, come here and you'll get this.
Yeah.
Right? But we deposit and deposit and deposit. And we build that brand and authority score so that when we do ask, people are jumping at an opportunity to work with us.
Yeah.
Right? Like branding is so crucial. Like I was thinking about this the other day. I was driving, I got off the interstate and I was looking at the signs because my kids wanted a McDonald's. So I was trying to find McDonald's, right? Well, I saw a sign that didn't have the name of the company on it, like a big tall sign off the interstate, like an advertising sign. It was Starbucks. Did you know that Starbucks doesn't even put their name on their big signs for people off the interstate because their branding is so powerful that people know what their logo means without the words? Mm-hmm. It's a picture of a girl or something. I don't know what it is, but everybody knows that it's Starbucks. Mm-hmm. That is brand power, right? Like they've taken bean and water into this massive conglomerate of an amazing brand that's billions and billions and billions of dollars. And they've done so well at branding and so well at providing value that you'll pay $7 for a cup of coffee and you'll wait in line for an hour to get it. Mm-hmm. And they don't even need their name on their signs. Tell me the last time you saw a Starbucks ad where they're asking a call to action. Hey, come here, you'll buy one, get one free. They built a brand.
Yeah.
Why, as real estate agents, do we focus on being these slick salespeople that are trying to always do these sales and these discounts? And if you work with me, I'm the best, versus building your authority score by providing value. Mm-hmm. Like, I think I'm kind of going off script here, but it's so important that you're understanding that as you're marketing, your main goal is to build a brand. I remember one of my buddies, Sunit Agarwal, the first time I heard him speak, he's the number one team in California. And he said this from the stage, and when he said it, it was the only person that it made me realize I wasn't completely crazy, or him and I are both crazy. Either one is a relevant option. But he said, I love it when people come into my organization and I ask them, because our admin asks them every single time, how did you hear about us? And they say, I don't know. Because that means that we built such a brand and authority that they can't remember which avenue they saw us from because we provide so much value to the marketplace. Mm. That's how you should be focused on building your brand. Like, that is what branding is, and that's how you build marketing for a successful real estate company.
Yeah, I love that. And I think we're talking about recruitment strategy a lot. I think that's something that we're really pushing right now, so it's top of mind. The recruitment thing that you had talked about, that we had made 70 or 80 posts last year. I had requested for someone on my team to say, hey, could you help me out and count how many recruitment posts we had? And she's like, oh yeah, we had 12. And I was like, that's not right. No way. So I go back and count them. And the reason why she had thought it was 12 was because out of those 80 something posts, only 12 actually looked like recruiting posts. The rest of them looked like just regular value. Pictures of our team, pictures of us having fun together. Those were recruiting posts. Those were 100%. Strategic to our audience. They were just value. They were us having fun. They were us having a good time.
The best ads don't look like ads. Mm-hmm. The best value ads don't look like value. It looks like you're telling a story. You're sharing a win of another real estate agent on your team. You're sharing a win from a client success story. If you share a closing photo of a client with zero call to action, congratulations to the Smith family. They moved from ABC area and this was their first home that they ever purchased, and tell their story without asking for anything in return. Mm-hmm. Does that build a brand for your organization? What are you going to be known as? You're the people that help first-time home buyers absolutely transform their life because they were able to get into a first home because you told that story.
Absolutely.
Now, what if you could take that post, you can make it into a graphic with those people. You could type a big blog about it as success stories of our clients. You could make a video testimonial with them. Mm-hmm. Like, people struggle with what content do I use? That one thing, I could turn into 20 pieces of content tomorrow. Repurposing is huge for this stuff. As an example, behind the scenes. Colin's over here taking notes right now because he's taking good notes of what clips we're going to clip out. And we will make a minimum 25 pieces of content from this one podcast. Yep. Minimum. Because we repurpose it. We don't have to be everywhere. Mm-hmm. But we can take the stuff that we talk about and we can dissect it into bite-sized pieces, because right now you want to talk about being in front of your audience. Talk about algorithms of social media platforms. Short-form content is king. Mm-hmm. And so I love doing these podcasts, but what I love the most is you take a couple of these clips and they go absolutely viral. Tens of thousands of people see them overnight versus hundreds of people listen to the podcast fully. But they get the nuggets and the value that we are delivering here through those short form. Are your audience getting the same? Like there's a hack right there.
Yeah.
You don't have to be everywhere at once. Just maximize the content that you have. The words you say can be turned into a video, can be turned into a podcast, can be turned into a blog, can be turned into a post, and you can repurpose that in several different fashions.
Yeah. So, and this is something, if you have a one-person marketing department, if you have a small marketing department, whatever that is to you, this has been the number one pain point actually of almost every marketing team that I've spoken with is how do I keep up with the amount of content? How do I have that many ideas? Like my creative juice is dead at the end of the day. Like
Sure.
I don't know what to do. My advice is always what you just said. You take one piece of content, focus on a couple things that you know you can accomplish, and you take that and you run as far as you can with it. Post it on multiple channels, split it up into shorts, make graphics, make blogs, make anything that you can from that piece of content. Send an email. Take it as far as you can, and that is going to not only hit so much of your audience and resonate with people who vibe with different things, whether it be video, graphic, email, but it's also going to provide so much leverage in your marketing department to not run you completely ragged, chasing down every single little trend.
Yeah, so let's talk real estate specific content. This is something that I was thinking about on my flight back from my last event, is that I want to focus on creating more real estate specific content. What I mean by that is content for buyers and sellers. And so the very first thing this is the conversation I have with myself, and I have notes to prove it, is what am I going to do to be top of mind for buyers and sellers in our marketplace? It's simple. I'm going to get with my agents and ask them what objections they are hearing, what problems are their clients having, how did we solve them, and that is my content. That is it.
Yeah.
This buyer struggled with a pre-approval because of ABC. Awesome, let's do a video. Oh, by the way, let's transcribe that video through new AI and let's make that a blog post. Oh, that blog post can also be an email and we can embed the video in it as well.
Yeah.
Right? That's from one thing that is going on, and you do that over and over. What is your audience struggling with right now? What is their pain point? What is their pleasure? And those are what you do videos on. Right? So All or Nothing is a brand for agents, right? So as an example, you guys, if you're listening to this, you've probably saw some of our content. You probably are on our email list. If not, you should be. Go to allornothinginrealestate.com and subscribe because there's lots of value there. But where we get a lot of that content is from the problems that my agents have, the questions that they have, the questions that my coaching clients have. And guess what? I turn that and I make that into content to help other agents. It's the same exact concept. What is going on? We want to talk about message to market match. What is going on in the current marketplace? Let your people know.
Yeah.
Educate and inform.
You think about the authority score you're talking about. Imagine the authority you would get if you have someone who asks you a question or they have a concern and objection. You respond, you reply to it, and you also say, hey, I actually have a video on this that's going to help you break it down even more. So here's this video. Let me know if you have any other questions. Yep. That's another way to gain more trust and authority with your clients.
100%. I want to go back to the alley-oop analogy. I love it.
I almost did another sports analogy, but I was like, Jenna, you need to stop.
You have to
I was thinking about when you're taking your content to the end line, I was thinking about the football players who hit the thing in front of them and they push. You know what I'm talking about? In practice?
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever those things are.
Like the pads.
That's what it's like. Either. Yeah. But I was like, Jenna, you're going to butcher that. So don't say that. But I did anyway. So.
Yeah. You probably, let's rewind that. You should have said it. I'm just kidding. Yeah. All right, where do you want to go next, Jenna? You're the marketing guru. What do you want to talk about?
Now let's talk about building your team, because this is where I think a lot of people get really overwhelmed. They think, do I need to add in-house people? Do I need to add a VA? Do I need to add an expert? Where do I go? What do I do to build this team out from there? And it can be incredibly overwhelming.
So this is more for someone that's already done the steps we just talked about. They're getting some momentum. They're pushing that snowball up the hill, and now they need to leverage some more help.
Yeah.
Right? So they need to build a team around them. So the first step that I would take, and Jenna, correct me if I'm wrong, is you have to take inventory, right? You have to do an audit on what am I doing great at? What is taking the majority of my time? Where can I expand and find that priority again, right? Like in marketing, you can't be everything to everyone. Who is my target market? where is the biggest gap that I identify and how can I fill that gap? And most of the time, what you will find is, like, as an example, I'll relate this to building a real estate team. The first hire for most real estate agents needs to be an assistant. Mm-hmm. Duplicate yourself with the stuff that is not the most high productive activities with your time. Yeah, right? So do a time study. See what you're doing with marketing. And what we have found is VAs are amazing marketing support.
Yeah.
If you're interested in learning more about that, please reach out to me. I've got a great connection with the owner of Sphere Rocket that has been amazing to help with our VAs, and they are phenomenal employees. They're willing to learn. They do amazing. So as a matter of fact, you've seen any of our content, it's a 98% chance that one of our VA video editors did the editing. And so there's amazing opportunity to scale there, and it changes their lives for them and their family. A whole nother podcast on that. Yeah. But there's amazing opportunity there. So I think building a team that goes back to leadership, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a passion of mine, something I work on every single day to improve. But leadership, the key to leadership is being able to wake up every day, realize that you are in a servant position, number one. There's only one type of leadership, in my opinion, and it is servant leadership by example. And so if you're going to grow a team underneath you, I don't care if it's an assistant or if it's 100,000 people underneath you, you have to be a servant leader and you have to lead by example, period. But your number one job as a servant leader is to replace yourself. Wake up every single day and say, all right, how can I replace myself? Here's where people get stuck. And maybe you're a single agent and this doesn't apply to you, but there's people that are maybe on a marketing team that may be listening to this, and this absolutely does, is where I've seen stunts in growth in our organization and in others, and at times has been where someone is afraid to replace themselves because they feel less valuable. Mm-hmm. Here's what I will tell you as a team leader, as a coach, as being around some of the top performers in the world on a, fortunately, weekly basis. Every single one of them will tell you the exact same thing. If you are able to replace yourself, you're twice as valuable, not half. So as a leader, as you grow something, you need to wake up every single day and say, how can I replace myself? You want to provide more value. You want to be more valuable. You want to make more money. You want to provide more opportunity. Replace yourself. Mm-hmm. That makes you twice as valuable, not half as valuable.
Yeah, and it empowers others as you do it too. I think one thing that I see is people who want to hire in these expert level people. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I also want... Can I
interrupt you real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
If you think that you're going to hire an expert company and they're going to fix your marketing, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. You cannot delegate your push-ups. You have to go in the trenches. You have to lead by example. You have to go through it yourself. Can they enhance it? Absolutely. We use some tools to enhance our marketing. Absolutely you can. But here's where people go wrong. I want to hire this social media company. They're going to take over my social media. I'm not going to have to deal with it. I promise you that is not going to deliver the value that you need, your clients deserve, and it's not going to scale your business.
Yeah.
They are an enhancement, not a replacement.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of experts, they became experts because they put in the work. Yes. They had to learn. They had to start somewhere. And when you're looking at your marketing department, say you want someone who's an incredible copywriter, phenomenal. Find someone who is a strong writer to begin with, and maybe they're not an official copywriter. Maybe they haven't done anything crazy with it, but they have the potential to become that. Train them, coach them, give them the tools that they need to thrive, and then you will have a copyright expert. But you have to, I think you're limiting yourself if you try to hire this high-level, incredibly trained team and versus hiring people who just want the job and who have the potential, and then coaching them and training them and giving them what they need to succeed.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let me add an asterisk to it, because there is value to hiring someone that has that experience already. As long as they're a good fit for the culture, they have the experience, they can enhance an environment quicker sometimes. But also that person's hard to find. Mm-hmm. And so what I believe in is if you want to grow and scale, you have to create vertical growth within your organization. And so this is probably a little higher level for someone that's building an entire team, but you always have to look from within to promote before you look external. Look internal first, right? But that doesn't mean that just because they're internal that they deserve that opportunity. Like, you don't want to create that entitled attitude, but you also want to make sure you have opportunity for your team to grow. And I think that a lot of real estate agents just look for the silver bullet, right? They want the magic pill. And if I just hire an ABC marketing company, they'll do it all for me. And don't get me wrong, there's some amazing marketing companies out there that will absolutely enhance your business, but you can't detach totally. You have to be involved. You have to help with the content. They don't know your marketplace as well as you do. They don't know what content your audience wants to hear.
Yeah.
Like they can enhance, they can't replace.
Yeah. Well, I think about you as a team leader. I mean, you've got a ton of responsibility on your plate. You're not completely detached from the marketing department. You have very important roles within it. You help us with our copyright. You are the voice in a lot of our things because this is part of who you are. And it wouldn't be authentic if you were separated from
100%.
it.
We've tried that before, and I had to go back in and said, nope, this is not my voice. And not that you guys were doing a bad job. You guys are doing phenomenal. But what I see a lot of leaders in my position as an example is that here's my belief, and I hope, please don't take offense to this because none is intended, but a good team leader will always be the visionary of the marketing company. And some of those say that if you want to, I don't believe in titles, but like that means that I'm in charge of strategy for the marketing company. I always will be. Not that I can't empower Jenna to come up with ideas, which she absolutely does. Where I see people lose touch is they say, well, Jenna's got it now, let her run with it. She still needs that team leader's attachment because I learned something at these events. I see something from another team leader. I see something that is valuable that we collaborate together on, and now we have a way better end product.
Recruiting solves all problems. I heard that from John Cheplack at the first John Cheplack event that I ever went to, and I didn't fully understand what it meant. Let's think about it this way. What is easier to do? To get an agent who is a human to change their behavior in the changing marketplace and force them to change, or to bring in new people with new standards, with new activity, new hunger, new drive, and them start seeing results, and then everyone else fall in alignment and want to do the same activities that are producing those results. So many of us overcomplicate recruiting. We don't want to cold call. We don't know who to call. We don't know what to say. We get uncomfortable. So I've developed a solution. We've been operating this in my business for 3 years now. It's recruiting funnels that gives you a conveyor belt of recruits that raise their hand and ask if they can join your real estate team. If you're interested in learning more about a lead generation strategy that runs parallel with a real estate business, just how you run buyer and seller business, we can run your recruiting business the same way. Visit 3recruitingfunnelsbuilt.com to learn more.
Real estate agents, we suck at marketing and we need to get better. In this episode, we're going to show you exactly how you can get better. So we're going to break down an absolute masterclass on how to present, how to market, how to develop an offer, how to create leads from Alex Hormozi. His book launch literally was a masterclass on how to do all of those things. And we are going to do our best to break it down on how you can not only implement in your life, but more importantly in real estate. So with me, I have the brilliant Jenna Swift, who is a marketing genius in our organization. And we're going to break down the masterclass and how we can apply to real estate. So Jenna, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So Jenna, let's kind of go over some of the things, some of the big takeaways, and let's future pace for everyone. Let's let them know what we're going to cover. What are some of the biggest takeaways we had? By the way, this is going to be a 2 or 3 part because there's so much, and we want to go very tactical with you guys so you can implement this in your business, have an understanding of what we're going to do, and also maybe give you guys some ideas that you can implement first. So Jenna, we literally only watched the first 20, 25 minutes of it, and we had to stop because we were like an hour and a half in because we stopped and talked so much.
Yeah, we stopped every probably 2 minutes to talk about what he was talking about and how we can apply it. Yeah,
so with that being said, we're going to give you an behind the scenes look of kind of discussions that we had and ways that we're going to implement this in our real estate business, and hopefully you can too. One of the big takeaways that I had was, number one, every business follows a 3-step framework. Every single business, and it is so relevant for real estate. So we're going to break down that 3-step framework that every business follows and how real estate agents have it backwards. Real estate agents, if you just invert the process that you're usually doing, I promise you, you will have way better leads, way more leads, easier conversion rates, and higher conversion rates. And I know which always leads to more closings, which we all want, right? Yeah. So we're going to break down that process. And then he also broke down on how to create an amazing offer, which we're going to talk about, but how to create that offer into creating more leads. And I think real estate agents, we all want more leads, especially in this marketplace. And so we're going to cover a 4-step framework of different ways you can create leads, you can convert leads, etc. Is there anything else that really stood out to you, Jenna?
And the big thing, you kind of hit the nail on the head with real estate agents. I think about the quote, the jack of all trades and master of none. Real estate agents, you're great at selling real estate. There are people out there who are experts in marketing, and we can have so much to learn from them and let them to help them, have them help us to create those marketing plans. So you don't have to do it all by yourself. You don't have to fight that battle alone. There are people out there who could help you.
That is so true. I mean, as an example, most people, real estate teams, when I started a team, it was just oh, that's never going to work. And now it's just normal, right? Teams are the most common thing in real estate. And it's because of just that. It's leverage. It allows you to focus on what you're good at. And so as an example, I truly believe real estate agents, I love all of you, but most of us suck at marketing. It's just not our expertise. We're just not good at it. What if we could take a master class from someone with Alex Hormozi's brilliance and implement that to create a better offer in marketing, which ultimately creates more leads, more hand raisers, and more closings for our business. So if marketing is something you feel like you want to improve or you can improve, which let's be honest, all of us can, this is going to be valuable for you.
Absolutely.
So Jenna, let's start with the 3-step framework that every business has. The first is, and again, real estate agents, we have it backwards. So this is the framework that Alex Hormozi broke down. Number 1, you have to have an offer. You have something, a product or a service that you offer to the client, consumer, public, etc. You have an offer. That's number 1. Number 2 is you have to create leads for that offer. So you have to create hand raisers, create people that are interested in your product or your service. And number 3 is you have sales. You have to sell to those leads that offer that product, that service. Sounds very, very simple. Everyone would agree. Every single business that's ever been invented follows that framework. Offer, leads, sales.
Yep.
You're selling something or you don't have a business. Real estate agents, how do we have it backwards? What do we focus on first? Focus on the sales. How do we have more closings? That's where we start at the end, which I get it. Without closings, you don't have money, right? So that's why we start there. I totally understand it. But I want to challenge you to think differently. And what if we inverted this? So as an example, here, let me take you through a little bit of how my brain processed this. If we're focused on the closings and we're a real estate agent, we're struggling, we don't have enough closings, what do we need more of? We need more leads, right? That's where we focus. Well, I need more leads. And how many real estate agents have you heard say, well, these leads suck? Well, this lead didn't answer the phone. This lead didn't convert. They don't want to buy. What if, instead of focusing on sales first, lead second, and probably most agents not even having an offer, what if we focused on the offer first? As an example, if I were to ask you as a real estate agent right now, you're in an elevator with a seller that is whatever your market, it's a luxury property that says, you know what, you're a real estate agent, I want to sell my house. You have 30 seconds till I get to my floor. Why should I use you? What would you say? Challenge you. Let's have awkward silence. What would you say? Think about it. Process. And realize how much you would fumble all over your words. You would not know what to say because we don't have an elevator pitch. I truly believe it's because we have not processed, and this is new to me. So I was one of those. Now we have offers. We have irresistible offers that we've created. We have unique selling propositions. We have things that make us stand out. Used to, if you asked me that question, and I'm be willing, if some of you went through and played this exercise with me, you would say things like, well, I'm honest. I work hard. I have integrity. I have a proven track record. I've sold a lot of property, right? Any of those things. As a matter of fact, I did this at a mastermind I was at in Phoenix just this week. And those were the offers that I got. Or those were the answers that I got to the, what do you have to offer, right? And it was interesting. At the third mastermind that I was a part of, someone answered differently. And someone gave me, everyone else said all of those things. They said, awesome. I kept fishing for more. And one lady stood up and said, I can't remember what it was, but it was an offer of some sort that made her stand out. It was like, well, if I don't sell your house in this amount of days, this happens. I'm like, how many homes do you sell per year? She's like, well, this year we've sold, I don't know what it was, a couple hundred. I said, awesome. Who else in this room has sold over a couple hundred houses in a year? No one raised their hand. I said, do you know why she sells a couple hundred and you don't? She focuses on her offer. The only time I've asked that question, literally that's a goosebump moment, because there's the only time that I've asked that question and got that answer is from people that perform at a very, very high level, because they understand the importance of the offer. Too many times we focus on the leads, we focus on the sales, and we don't focus on what we have to offer them. Think about it. If our offer stands out and people, if we have an honest answer that we truly believe in, above and beyond, we're honest, we have integrity, we work hard. In real estate, guys, we are privileged to be able to help people with the biggest purchase or sale of their life every single day. You should be honest. You should act with integrity. You should work hard. You should sell real estate. Those should be the baseline. If you don't have those things, you shouldn't be in the damn business.
Yeah, it's what your clients deserve at the end
That's
of the
right.
day. Yeah.
But we use that as, that puts us on a pedestal. That makes us stand out. Maybe it does. But that's what the client should expect. And so we have to exceed their expectations. So those should be the baseline regardless. Now, what if we can build an offer on top of that and make you stand out? If we had an offer above and beyond that, if you had an offer above and beyond that, that was a great elevator pitch that was, as an example, this is from Alex Hormozi. What makes a good offer? Jenna, do you remember his quote? Create an offer so good.
Oh, people, oh man, create an offer so good, people feel stupid to not work with you or buy from you.
Yep, create an offer so good, people feel stupid saying no. How many times in sales do we try to convince people to say yes? We're playing the wrong game. You know what people at the elite levels game they're playing? They're creating an offer so good, people feel stupid saying no. We're not trying to convince people to say yes. Our offer is so damn good that they feel stupid to say no to it.
Yeah.
But it has to be bold. It has to have, here's what makes a good offer. Number one, it has to be irresistible. They have to feel stupid saying no. Number two, it has to have risk reversal. What is the perceived risk of the client, of the seller, of the buyer, of the community, of the product, of the service that you sell? There's always risk involved. What if you could create an offer that reverses that risk and puts that risk on you as the business? And I know I will have skeptics that say, well, Matt, I just not in a place in my business where I can do that. Then get out of the damn business or join someone that can. Your client freaking deserves it. So you have to have, why are you putting the risk on them? It just doesn't make any sense, right? Like if they have a concern, our job as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as real estate agents, as salespeople is to solve their problem. So quit saying, well, that's their problem and that's their problem. No, it's our job to solve their problems. So reverse that risk.
Yeah, I mean, you're thinking about the objections you're going to hear,
Yes.
right? You're thinking about, okay, if I say, hey, I want you to buy a home from me, and they say, okay, well, I want to, but interest rates, or I want to, but this. Think about those buts, those and buts, and then build your offers
love
around
yeah buts,
those
right?
yeah buts. Yeah. Build those around it, because that's what's going to give, I mean, it gives them no option but to say, you're like, well, I've thought of that. I've thought of the interest rate thing. What about this 2-1 buy down program that we have with one of our trusted lenders? You know, you're thinking about things in advance.
Well, I think that's so like one of the things that, and I spoke on this a little bit. I wish I would have listened to Hormozi before I presented this in Calgary, because the next time I present it'll be way better, because it was just, again, a masterclass. I learned so much. But one of the things I talked about was, what if you actually recorded every objection that you got? And you had instead of guessing what the consumer was saying, what if you kept record of every time you had a valid conversation, a two-way conversation with a buyer or seller, and they did not buy, sell, or agree to an appointment? Quit trying to overcomplicate objections. What was the reason they didn't say yes? Now, what if you have a common theme that you do that for 3 months and you have a list of 100 things? I'd be willing to bet there's three to five of those that stand out, that is common among most of them. What if you could solve those problems in advance? What if you could reverse that risk, and you could educate, you could inform, you could provide a solution to whatever that objection or that problem is?
Yeah.
You solve that problem for all those people. We overcomplicate it, right? Well, what is our offer? And it sounds too salesy. It sounds too this. I'm not saying your offer has to be something that sounds like a fly-by-night company. Like, I honestly, personally, I can't fucking stand those. I can't stand it. We have, I'm probably going to catch some heat for saying this, but fuck it. It's how I feel. It's my podcast. If you don't like it, don't listen. But there are companies that I know of that have advertised, if I don't sell your home, I will buy it. That have bought zero freaking companies. They've advertised for 10 years. Mm-hmm. That's gotchas to the consumer. That eliminates trust. And that's what most people think an offer has to be. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of business owners, and I hope this speaks to you. If you're listening to this, you have integrity and you don't want to go down that path, that's not what I'm asking you to do. You can create offers of things that you actually already do for the consumer, and you can create a package around it to just educate and inform and communicate that package. Put a nice little bow on it so they know that you offer that package. There are things that we do each and every day in this business that the consumer doesn't fully understand because they're not in the business. Mm-hmm. Here's a real life example. If you're struggling right now and you're like, I need an offer, what should be an offer? Let me give you an easy one. Most people would agree, let's say that someone wants to sell their house with you and they want to sell their home, and it's because they have a job opportunity in another state, right? We've all had that happen. Mm-hmm. Well, they list the home with you. 2 weeks later, something happens, the job falls through, and they call you. And they say, hey, Jenna, I appreciate you putting the house on the market. Unfortunately, I got some bad news. We're no longer moving. Something happened with the job. We're not moving, so we need to take our house off the market. Most real estate agents will say, no problem, completely understand. I'll come by to get my sign. Let me know if I can do anything to help, right? Mm-hmm. Most people just cancel that agreement. No questions asked. Mm-hmm. Life happens. We don't want to hold people hostage. Now, if you're one of the people that hold them hostage, I'm probably not the guy you should follow because I like people with integrity. Mm-hmm. But, God, I hate it when I just go too far. Sorry. But it's real. It's how I feel, right? If you're not willing to let someone out of the contract, like here's questions I've got when I've presented that to people is like, well, don't you charge them a cancellation fee? Nope. I don't believe in it. I don't want to work with people who don't want to work with me. Mm-hmm. And life happens to all of us. So yes, did I have money invested in the photos? Yep. Did I have time invested in meeting with them? Yep. Did I have time invested and money invested in showing the property, doing whatever it may have happened? Absolutely, I did. But their life changed. They're going through enough because the job offer just canceled. I don't need to add to that stress to them.
Right.
I want to help them. Now, what positive word of mouth if I stand out and I'm like, you know what? I completely understand, Jenna. I'm so sorry the job offer fell through. Is there anything that I can do for you? And just be above and beyond service, not about how am I going to get reimbursed? How many referrals is that person going to send me? Because I stand out, because I care, right? And so I believe in playing the long game. Anyway, off of my high horse on integrity. Most people act that way, right? Most people understand that. And so if you are in alignment with that, what if you could advertise something and call it a cancellation guarantee? I don't believe in contracts. I believe in accountability. And at any time I'm not holding up my end of the bargain, we can cancel our agreement at any time. Most people offer that. That scenario, most people would do that. But have you created a package around that? Are you advertising around that? Are your agents, are you talking to clients about that makes you stand out? Because that reverses the risk of how many people have we talked to. I talk to agents all the time still. It used to be way worse before I got in the business. But I talk to agents all the time that talk to other sellers that said, well, I don't want to sign a contract because I don't want to be trapped. I don't want to trap people. So I'm going to reverse that risk. I'm going to hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
And at any time you're not happy, you can cancel. Matt, that's crazy. You're reversing the risk. You're putting it all on yourself. I need to freaking deliver. Yeah. And if I don't deliver, or let's say that we're not a good personality fit. Me and Jenna's the seller, and me and her just don't get along. Do I want to work with someone I don't get along with? I don't want to. And so I just think it makes so much sense. But that's an example of how you can think about all of this risk, all of these things that are objections that clients have, and how you can create a package out of it, create an offer out of that to create more hand raisers and higher quality leads.
Yeah. I think with the thinking about the objections, and then also I think what you're talking about is stop assuming. Stop assuming your clients know those things. Because I think when you're somebody with integrity, you are assuming that everyone else does the same thing. You have to stop assuming those things, and you have to start seeing that as a unique thing about yourself and promote it. Like, that's a unique thing to you. It feels like, well, of course I do that. Everyone does that. That's a big deal. Your clients don't know that, though. Like you said, they're not in the business every day. You are. It's our responsibility to share with them why you're different, why you're unique.
So good. I agree with you and I disagree. I agree with everything you said, except for you said you shouldn't assume. I think you should assume. I think you should assume that nobody knows anything. Treat them all like they don't know. As an example, I was talking to my good friend, John Cheplack, about this masterclass, and he said what really stood out to him was that he spoke to everyone at the same time, and he broke things down on a second grade level. How many times do we talk over our audience? My good buddy Preston Guyton made a post on this morning, and he said how he ended his post was sometimes you don't understand how much knowledge you have and how it can impact others, was like the frame of the message. And he ended it with, because sometimes your average is excellence to someone else. Because we are in it every single day. As an example, in real estate, we have the ability of being in this business each and every day. And so what is average to us, a consumer may not understand that at the level that they should. And so it is our job to break it down so that they can understand it. So I talked about risk reversal. There's another key component of an offer before I go too far, and that is perceived value. So what are the important components of an offer? Number one, risk reversal. Put the risk on yourself, not on the client. Number two, the perceived value has to be through the roof. The value they feel or they perceive is way more important than the value you provide. Let me say that again. The value they perceive is way more important than the value you provide. How they interpret what your value is way more important than the value itself. And so make sure that you articulate that value. It goes back to one of my favorite quotes. Value unarticulated is value unappreciated. If you want them to appreciate and understand the value, you have to articulate it in a way, in a fashion that they actually understand it and they perceive it as a high value item. It's so important. So it goes back to don't talk over your audience. Talk with your audience, not over them.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to have fancy words. None of that. Just position it and package it to where people understand it and they understand how it solves a problem for themselves.
Yeah. Break it down and then break it down again and then walk away from it and then come back to it and break it down further. Yes. Just continue. That's something that is just astounding to me with Alex Hormozi and how simple. Anybody can understand it. You do not have to have a degree in marketing. You do not have to have this high level intellect to understand what he's saying. He meets you right where you're at. So
very well said. And I think a lot of us can learn that in real estate. So as an example, myself, here's what I took away from that is sometimes I struggle. How do I deliver it to the masses? I need to talk to first-time home buyers. I need to talk to investors. I need to talk to people that have sold 10 homes. I need to talk to someone that's never sold a house before. How do I do that? Well, if you go back and watch Alex Hormozi's, he talked to someone that's making their first business. Someone that's going to make their first $10,000 a month. Someone's going to make their first $100,000 a month. Someone's going to make their first $1 million a month. He had all of those audiences. Over 500,000 people were present and nobody left. There is a way to do it, but it starts with keeping it simple and don't talk over those people. A lot of people may say, well, if you're talking to the business owner that just started, you're going to lose the people trying to get $1 million a month. Not the way that he did it and demonstrated it. Check out his modeling and duplicate it. There's a lot of lessons to learn there. But I think it's so important that we keep it simple.
Yeah. He even identified his audience right off the bat. Like he said, I'm talking to two people who need to put their oxygen masks on themselves and people who are ready to pay it forward. Like right off the bat, he's like, I'm identifying exactly who I'm speaking to because every single person, there were probably, I think 200,000 people
There's
on that live.
500,000.
500,000. All of those people fit into those two buckets, either one or the other. Every single person did. Like you said, either the person looking to hope fingers crossed for their first $100, all the way to the people who are like ready to make $100,000, $100 million. You fit in one of those two buckets. He nailed it right off the bat.
Yeah. So I want to finish with this, is that the offer, on the offer stuff, and we'll go to the leads, is the offer has to be strong. If the offer is strong, it makes the leads easier. You create more leads, and they're higher intent leads. Like if I were to ask real estate agents, if I were to pose and frame a question, would you like raise your hand if you want higher quality leads that are ready to transact sooner? Everyone would raise their hand. Raise your hand if you want more of those leads. Everyone raise their hands. You have to focus on your offer and how you demonstrate the value you bring. It creates both of those.
Yeah.
As an example, his offer, I believe in the law of reciprocity. Go look at Alex Hormozi over the last 4 years. He has blown up. And you know what he sold over the last 4 years? He sold one thing. It was a book for $1.99.
Yeah.
Talk about giving and giving and giving and giving. And if you're watching this and you're a lifelong learner like myself, this is not the first time you've heard of Alex Hormozi. You've taken something from him. By the way, all these Instagram reels and all these edits that you see, how many ads, if you're a marketer, have you seen that say, hey, I'll edit your ads Hormozi style? He laid the framework for it, and he's deposited and deposited and deposited and deposited. And that's why 500,000 people showed up and broke the internet for his book launch. It's because his offer was so good. All right. I think we nailed the offer.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So the importance of an offer. Now let's go to the next part, leads. How do you use that offer to create leads? How did Alex Hormozi use that offer to create 500,000 leads that showed up and stayed for an hour and a half? When's the last time any of you stayed and didn't leave for an hour and a half Zoom? Didn't leave early. Right? Yeah. We live in a busy world. 500,000 people stayed on for an hour and a half because it was such a masterclass, because of the reciprocity, because of the deposits that he's done. Not only did it create all these hand raisers, but those hand raisers were ready to buy his product. I was talking to John Cheplack, and he literally said, I wish he would have sold me sooner. I got my credit card out 15 minutes in and said, all right, what's he selling? I'm buying. I don't care what it costs, what it is, I'm buying it. Because of that, imagine if your buyers and sellers acted that way. You deposited so much value into their lives that they felt obligated, and they had their checkbook out and being like, oh, you only charge 7%? Why not 10? Can you apply that much value to your database? I think that you can, but your offer has to stand out. You have to be better. So let's talk about leads. Jenna, we talked about there's 4 ways to create leads, right? We use this in our business, but I think he broke it down masterfully. Would you like to talk about those 4 things?
Yeah, he simplified it like he does everything, ultra simplified. So there's the warm outreach. That's the one-to-one, which is people you know. So that looks like you're reaching out via email. Your sphere of influence would be a great one for that. Voicemails, physical mails. He even says it could even be carrier pigeons, whatever you need it to be. But that's what that one looks like. There's also social outreach, which is one to many. That's the people that you know. So that's looking like posting on social media, your organic social media posts, your reels, your videos, your all of that kind of stuff, posting high value content, and using that framework, that hook, retain, reward framework. And then the next one is that one.
Say that again. What's that framework?
Hook, retain, reward.
You guys should write that down. Every marketing piece needs to go around those 3 things.
Yes. And I've heard so many marketing people talk about this framework, and usually there's like 6 elements to it. So the fact that he, again, simplifies it down to 3, hook, retain, reward. It's simple. It's easy to remember.
Let me jump in there before you get to the other 2. How many people, including ourselves, we had a long discussion internally about this exact framework? We got the hook. We understand. The retention is something we're always working on. We're at least aware of. But how many times do we, when I say we, those listening as well, how many times do we do the hook? We try to retain them. And at the end, the last thing we do is we have an ask. We ask them for something versus rewarding them with something. We need to flip that.
Yeah.
Quit asking for things and reward them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whatever you're asking them is going to bring value to them. Hopefully, that's what the purpose is. So reward them with it.
Yep,
yeah.
100%.
The next one would be running paid ads. So that's one to many, and they're people that you don't know. So this would be all of your paid advertising, Facebook, TikTok, Google pay-per-click. There's so many different advertising routes you can take. But there was one thing he said that I loved, because I'm sure if you're on here, if you've looked at anything marketing, you've been targeted with a million gazillion ads, and every single person is telling you how complicated advertising is.
Yep.
It's so difficult, and that's why you should hire me. And Alex Hormozi was just point blank said that ads sound complicated because they're not understanding them well enough. That it's not that complicated because they don't understand it. That's why they're making it sound that way.
It's either that they don't understand it fully, or they're trying to sell you something and they need to sound complicated to sell you something.
Exactly. But it can be done yourself, and he breaks it down in a way that you can do it yourself.
Yep.
It's totally possible for you. And then the last one is that cold outreach, which is one-to-one strangers. So that's your cold calling, your door knocking, stuff like that.
So to break that back down, there's 4 ways. What are we calling it? The 4 ways to...
4 ways to get leads.
4 ways to create leads. So you have 4 ways to do that, but you also have you have two different audiences. You have people that you know, and you have people that you don't know. So people you know, and you have strangers. And so warm outreach is a one-to-one concept to people that you know. And by the way, in real estate, you do very, very little of the one-to-one to strangers. You may consider a lead a stranger. That is not cold. That is warm. You will never convince me otherwise. Why else did they raise their hand? Did they inquire about a property? That is warm. That is not cold. Now, if you're going through the yellow pages and you're calling people one by one, that's a cold list. Right? That's the difference. So it's warm outreach. That's where most of our business comes from in real estate. If you're a prospecting real estate agent, which you should be, especially in today's marketplace, that's where most of it comes. So it's one-to-one to people that you know. Number two is social outreach. So social media post. Those are people that you know on your social media. This is not the ads. This is just organic post. That is one to many. We all probably do this. We can probably do it better, but there's ways that you can demonstrate your proof of success. There's difference in posts. There's a lead post there. There's also value post. And I'll be willing to bet most of you have too many lead posts and not enough value posts.
Yeah.
Give and give and give. And then people feel obligated to give back. And then let's see. The other two are to strangers. So there's one to many and one to one to strangers. So one to many on strangers is running paid ads, which we can totally break down in another episode and go super in depth on. And then there's cold outreach. So cold outreach will be actual cold calling, door knocking, etc. Right? But those are the 4 ways that you create leads. And what I loved about this class is that he broke down each of those and said, I used each of these. And how many of you were here because of this? How many are here because of that? How many are here? And he broke down how many people were there because of each of these that he actually demonstrated and modeled to get 500,000 people there.
Are you a real estate team leader that is frustrated, dealing with unproductive agents, loss of revenue, market shifts, or maybe you feel like I've felt and beating your head against the wall trying to grow your team, or maybe even keep your team together? Well, good news, I may have your solution. Matt Smith here with Matt Smith Real Estate Group. I'm also partnered with John Cheplack and Cheplack Life Coaching. For the last 2 years, I've coached team leaders across North America, helping them reach and exceed their goals and grow their business. One of the things that I found is most important, and I've got personally coaching with John Cheplack, is learning the leadership language and learning how to become a better leader and apply those principles in my organization. I believe in contribution and giving back to this industry that's given so much to me. So if you like what you hear on this podcast and you feel like you're in alignment with some of the things that I share here for free, but you want a little bit more, you want to learn more, you want some more guidance, you want some more tactics, some more strategies, send me a text. Text Discovery Call to 573-261-6778.
We're going to talk about marketing mastery. We're going to talk about some things that we've learned that have worked really, really well. And Jenna's got some numbers I'm sure she can share. Oh, by the way, Jenna's here. Hi, Jenna.
Hi, I'm Jenna.
Jenna is the marketing director for our real estate team, and she's been in a lot of these events and really dove into our marketing department. So I wanted you guys to hear it from 2 different perspectives of what's really working for our business, and honestly what I'm stealing from Jenna's brain and giving to some of my coaching clients that's working really, really well, and how that's coincided with our 3 recruiting funnels and just a lot of things that we have going on that we have learned in the marketing space. One of the things I learned really early on in this business is that most agents, I love you guys, but you suck at marketing. And so I think this will be relevant for the brand new agent, the very high producing agent, the team leader, agent on a team. We're going to cover most things marketing and real estate and go super in depth on what is really, really working in today's space. So without further ado, Jenna, take it away.
Yeah. I think I'll start with one of the things that I think I see the most as a mistake that people make when it comes to marketing is just overthinking it. One of the things I'll get asked, and I'm sure you get asked too, is what the heck do I post? You know, what do I do? What do I email? What do I do as ads and all that stuff? And usually if somebody asks me that or asks you that, my first response is usually, if you're asking this question, then you're already overthinking it, because there's so much content out there. And I think the more that you can start having the eyes for that content, start seeing it, the easier it becomes, the less processed your marketing becomes, and the more human it becomes.
Yeah, like it reminds me of I love quotes, right? But the best ad doesn't look or feel like an ad, right? And so if you take that concept and you understand that super in depth, I think a lot of people are like, hey, what's your perfect content calendar? And no disrespect to anyone that does this, but if you're one of those online gurus that sells their social media content calendar,
you're just in it to make money, because it doesn't impact the agent's business. It doesn't impact their audience. It's just filler.
Yeah.
And I think we found ourselves in that rut for a while, right?
Yeah.
Like we would create our content in advance. And there are certain things you need to have processes for. Like when you get a new listing, post the damn new listing. When you do a
Right.
price reduction, post the price reduction, right? Like those basics, which I think we'll probably cover. But I think to Jenna's point of like stop overthinking it, is the best marketing is like living in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like what is relevant today in my business that someone else can learn from, that someone else would find value on, that I could share that education that I just learned with someone else. And I think stop overthinking it. Stop relying on AI to generate everything for you. Be real, be authentic, be you, be genuine, and provide value. And
Yeah.
if you just really focus on those things, like you really can't go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and just to be honest, like I'm definitely a person. I love organization. I love processes. I love systems.
God bless you, but you drive me nuts.
I love it. And so that content calendar, it was glued to me
Yep.
for a long time because I thrive in structure. But what I realized is that you can't
You have to feel
plan-
sorry for Jenna, guys, if you're listening. She works with me very closely, and she thrives in structure.
Yeah.
Poor Jenna.
Yes, it's chaos, but I love it. And for me, what that content calendar ended up doing is it put our marketing into a box, and you really can't predict some things with real estate in your community. Like one thing, to be transparent, we had just yesterday a couple nights ago, a really massive storm come in and rip apart some businesses and some homes, do some damage.
It's terrible.
You can't predict that,
Yep.
and you can't predict and plan that in your marketing. And if your content calendar is so rigid that you can't be flexible for your community and for what the community's needs are, for what your agents' needs are, for what your audience's needs are, then you're not going to be relevant in your marketing at all.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to a principle in marketing that is really, really relatable to everyone. And it's called message to market match. Mm-hmm. Does your message match what your market is thriving for? Can you enter the conversation that's going on in your ideal customer's head? Mm-hmm. And you can't do that a week in advance. You can't even do that a day in advance. Sometimes you can't do that an hour in advance. It's got to be in the moment. Mm-hmm. Like literally. So I'll do this for both my personal brand, my coaching stuff, but also for our real estate business. I will literally stop in the middle of the hallway and people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Give me 5." And I will just stop and I will brain dump whatever that thing is and I will post it right then and then run away.
Yeah.
And it's because it's in the moment. I'm like, oh, that really stood out to me. Or I had a conversation with Jenna and Jenna had a really light bulb moment. I'm like, oh, there's other Jennas. I need to share this with more people. Mm-hmm. And I think if we just realize that we have so much marketing content available to us each and every day, if we just slow down and we realize and observe our surroundings and we see what is impactful to us. Let me use a real life example. If I'm an agent and I have a conversation with a seller, and I have a conversation with the seller that I overcome an objection, or I give them some education that really speaks to them, and I have a great conversation that sets an appointment, or whatever that may be in my day-to-day business, just slow down, stop, and record a video and tell that story. That content will relate to so many other homeowners and sellers that will outperform the best graphic you could create. It will outperform the best AI generated thing because it's real, it's authentic, it's genuine. And I promise you, if that person had an aha for it, there are more people that are in a similar situation with that person that will relate to that story if you're able to tell that story in your marketing.
Absolutely. People are craving for authenticity.
Yeah.
I just think, like, how many times, if I were to ask like everyone listening, raise your hand if you see an election ad, doesn't matter what side you're on, and it pops up on your screen or your TV and you're immediately like, bullshit. Like that's the first thing you say is, this is bullshit.
Well, that's just politics in general.
It is. And so, but people are tired of that. People are tired of seeing bullshit in their news feeds, in their lives. They're craving for that authenticity, for someone who has some scruffs, who's willing to get vulnerable. Like,
ooh, that's a big one.
There's no perfect business out there. And I think what makes people relate to businesses and build that connection and that trust ultimately is when you're able to build, take down those perfectly constructed walls and get a little vulnerable with your audience and be real with them.
And I think coming from Jenna, that's huge, right? It's no wonder we've had so much progress in our marketing, because to have that breakthrough yourself with you being the structured person that you are is huge. And so there's a couple things that you shared: vulnerability, be honest, be real, be raw, be authentic with your audience, right? Step number one. Authenticity, be you, be unapologetically you. People will get to know you anyway.
Yeah.
And you want people to know and like you for the real you. So don't fake it. The fake it till you make it thing, it just doesn't work in anything in life.
Yeah.
I say face it till you make it, and tell them, you know what? I am a new agent. This is my first contract. But guess what? I've got a great team. I've got a great coach. I've got this. And because it's my first contract, I'm going to work even harder for you. Right? Like, then they'll have empathy for you. It's just too many people there's just so much bullshit in today's world. There was something else that you said: vulnerability,
authenticity and trust.
Yeah, and authenticity, and those things build trust, because ultimately you want your audience. People, when we have to think about it from this perspective, and I say this all the time, in this business we are privileged to help people with the biggest purchase or sale of their lives in most cases. Do you think trust is important in the agent that they choose? Do you think what's going on in the news and the media in today's world, they have lack of trust for real estate agents? I saw a graphic that showed real estate agents are like 2 steps above used car salesmen in the consumer's mind for trust. And it's because we hear all this advice of fake it till you make it. We have all this clickbait out there in this world that we live in. And I just choose to live in integrity and be authentic and be real and be genuine. And I tell people, I do videos that say, you know what? Now may not be a good time for you to buy or sell. But here's the real news. Here's the reality of what is going on and how it could affect your situation. You want to know more? Let's have a conversation. Because people want real and want authentic. And do you think that doesn't help build trust and authority score in our marketplace? Because how many salespeople will tell you, hey, Jenna, now's not a good time for you to sell. You should probably wait.
Yeah.
Right? But everybody wants that money now, and they want that commission breath, and they want that magic pill for marketing. Give me the magic content calendar. And are there certain things that are consistent? And are there themes that you can develop? And are there processes you can put in place to have consistency in your marketing? Sure. But I think where most people miss the mark is the authenticity. And like you said, the vulnerability, right? Like, just be real with your people. And I think that's where I said, like, in sales, so sales and marketing run very parallel.
Right.
And if you're in this business, you're in sales. But you also have to realize you're a marketer. And so how can you use the sales language and dialogue to market to more people so you can create more sales?
Yeah, and to be honest, I use, like, when we're doing our copywriting for different videos, for different just whatever we do, I'm looking at scripts and I'm listening to conversations our agents are doing. So we're in alignment with what we're saying to our audience. And we're building off of each other too. So if I do something that happens to be good, then the agents might hear that and use that when they're speaking with a client. When I hear something that the agents do that, oh my gosh, that sounds really awesome, I'm going to take that and put it in my copywriting. So we're speaking the same language.
What did I ask you to do? I don't know, probably 60, 90 days ago.
To start joining the sales meetings.
Why did we have that conversation?
Because sales and marketing are, like you said, they're in alignment. We have to move and we have to speak the same language. And it would be really terrible if the agents and sales department, let's say they're doing, this new thing with, we did worry-free listing as one of our propositions that we have. And let's say they decided to do instant cash offer and marketing didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Like, we have to know and be on the same page so we can speak the same language. And for agents too, I can give them a leg up and help build that trust before they even talk to the client. And I can also get them some dope ass materials for when they're with the client and they have flyers and they have that marketing material that we're speaking the same language.
100%, because I think too many times agents, and myself, I'm guilty of this. I would rely on my skills, and I'm really good at winging things. And I'll figure it out when I get there. I'll figure out what the seller needs when I meet with the seller. But what if you could actually have a little things prepared? And what if you could actually visually storytell of what makes you different? In this marketplace,
Do you think marketing matters in this marketplace? Do you need to stand out with everything that's going on in today's landscape of the real estate space with all these changes coming in July? It is so important that you have your value and you're able to articulate the value. And one of the things that we've been building for years now is how can we show our audience value before they become our clients? And then when they have the conversation with us, they've already been introduced to these value propositions. They've already been introduced to the realities of the market. They've already been introduced to the education that we've been delivering, the information and updates on the marketplace. They've been introduced to the people in our organization because people want to work with people. And by the time that they come in the door, it's a slam dunk for our agents, right? Like through our email marketing, through our social channels, through our online lead gen, because we have built a brand and built authority and built trust with our audience. And I think so many people miss that mark. Like marketing isn't, hey, what's the post to get the most leads? Sure, there are ones that work better than others, but I'll tell you what works best over time is you are genuine, you are authentic, you post real content, and you provide things that are actually valuable to people. Like what is happening in your business today? Because hopefully you're having conversations with consumers. And if you want to get more consumers, break down those conversations and what the ahas had. What were the lessons? What were the common themes you found yourself saying over and over? What were the lessons or the ahas those clients had or didn't have? What do you wish you would have done differently? What ahas did you have because you should be dissecting every single phone call? Afterwards, you should watch your game film and be like, shit, I wish I would have done that differently. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? Do it differently on a video and you show it to more people. And then what is really, really cool, people overthink this stuff, right? And some people are gifted in writing, some people are gifted in video, some people are scared to death of both, right? Mm-hmm. The reality is we are trying to get face-to-face with more buyers and sellers every single day. Yeah. That's what you're trying to do in this business. So in the perfect world, these clients will see you. They will hear what you sound like. They will see what you look like. They will meet you face-to-face. So just show them that before they meet you. And then you will attract the right people anyway. And you'll have the clients that are in alignment with your vision, with your values, with who you are authentically yourself. And your business becomes way easier and way more successful.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the ways we did that, we really destructured, like not just with the content schedule, but also with how we're presenting our team and how we're presenting who we are and what we're really talking about is our branding.
Yes.
Is building a really robust brand.
Well, let me interrupt really quick. There's a huge difference between marketing and branding. Mm-hmm. And I think branding is a part of marketing. But too many people think that I need to calculate ROI on all my marketing. And the best marketing, again, doesn't look or feel like marketing. Mm-hmm. And that is called branding. And what is your brand authority score? If you asked your audience, whoever your target avatar is, and you asked them, hey, if you were to sell your home tomorrow, who would you choose? What percentage of those people would say your brand? You cannot measure that, but you also there's no ROI that's greater in business, mm-hmm. right? Think about, like, here's a great example of branding, and love them, hate them, whatever. Let's talk about Starbucks. They sell beans and water. Mm-hmm. That's what they do.
Burnt beans and water.
Right? But they have built such a brand that there's a line everywhere you go, always. If they're open, there's a line out the door. In addition to that, we just had a newer Starbucks go in a couple years ago, and I had an aha moment when I saw it because their sign that you can see from the interstate, their big $100,000 sign that they use for advertising, doesn't have any words on it. Mm-hmm. It has a fucking picture, and everybody knows that picture relates to Starbucks because of the brand they have built. When anyone thinks coffee, what do they think of?
Starbucks, yeah.
When everyone thinks real estate, what do they think of? You want to be that person.
Yeah.
That's what building a brand does. Now, there is no ROI on it. You can't, well, I need to do this discount code so I can judge the return on investment. There is no return on investment. But I take that back. There is a return on investment. It just, you can't track it. But I promise you, if you just focus on while you're doing marketing, you're also building a brand alongside of it, the return on investment over the length of your career, there is nothing that will come close to it.
Yeah, I think about the average time frame it takes to have a lead to convert that lead. I think it's like 15 months or a year and a half.
Depends on what study you look at, yeah.
And
12 to 18 months on average.
But there's a whole time frame before they become a lead.
Sure.
That is not always thought about. That I think people are so quick to jump to that lead spot that there's this whole back end of getting them to know you, because you ask the question, if you ask them, who would you work with? would they say you, but also would they even know you exist? Do they even know who you are? Are you omnipresent enough that that you're even on their radar? And that's something I think branding really gives a leg up for a lot of people. One thing we love to hear is, where did you hear about us? Oh, I've heard you're everywhere,
It's called omnipresence.
Perfect. That's what we want. We want to be so everywhere that you can't even track down the source of where we began.
You detail-oriented people, and I love you, and I'm glad that the world has you, but you drive me crazy. I'll call you bean counters that are like, well, I have to measure everything. You can't measure this. You just can't. But I would invite you to go through the mind space of if you are building a brand and a presence in your marketplace, that when you ask people, well, how'd you hear about us? And they say, I don't know, I just see you everywhere. There is no ROI better than that in business. And let me just give this real perspective. Like, this is proof of concept. Anything that we talk about isn't theory. This is proven. And Jenna's going to dive into the numbers of what this has done. We're going to go into email marketing, video content, everything that we've done. We'll get tactical here in a minute. But I think it's super important you understand, like, our real estate business. 2 years ago, we sold 776 houses, I believe. The year before that was 738. Or the year after that was 738. And then last year was 680 something. With just the market adjustments, et cetera. But one thing that didn't change is over 300 clients each of those years that we sold houses to or sold houses for reached out to us. They were our sphere of influence. They were our past clients. They came into us by calling our office and saying, I've heard good things. I want to work with you. Almost half of our sales. Well, Matt, you can't track the ROI. Give me one that's better. I don't have to pay $800 per lead to Zillow or whatever the hell, like, for those. No, don't get me wrong. We have those arms of our business because we're always growing. But, like, I just think so many people discount the importance of I used to sell radio, and I remember everyone said, how do you sell radio? Like, billboards work. I want to use billboards versus radio. I want to use this versus that. And a lot of the objections I got when I was introduced to that sales job was, well, we just work on word of mouth. And my pivot to that was, what if you could use word of mouth to 150,000 people through radio, right? Now, what if you can do that and you can spread positive word of mouth through your marketing that you do each and every day? Because every business is built on word of mouth. Not just yours. Every successful business is built on word of mouth. Everyone knows a guy or a girl. Everyone looks for referrals. Everyone asks their friends, who should I use? And so how do you own the conversation when you're not there?
Yeah.
And that's where marketing takes a whole nother level. And that's what we really, really focus on. I think important part of that we've gotten wrong before, that we are adjusting course and getting way, way better at, is letting our avatar, our clients, our community see us as people. We're not just houses, not just listings, but who are we as people?
Yeah.
And behind the scenes of our team events that we do, we'll do like just random pictures of people having a call night, and we'll just share that, hey, we're proud of these agents. We'll do videos of them at events and their families, and just show them who they are as people. Because at the end of the day, I can talk about building a brand, and there's a reason that my face isn't on any of our branding here locally, is because I think the brand's bigger than me. And I think it represents something way more than one person. And what I love about that, though, is that we also are able to show the people behind the brand. And whenever you do that, everybody wins.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something, the beginning of this year, we made a lot of different strategies with our marketing and changed up a few things. And one of the things that we did in alignment with what you're speaking about, we kicked out most of our headshots for our agents. Like, we love them. They're great. They're useful for some things, but it doesn't always showcase who your agent actually is. And so we would create, and it was also on a really rigid schedule too. So like every Friday we would do a team shout out, and it would be with the same template, with the same a headshot of the agent. And it just felt so stiff, And so what we really started doing is kicking out those headshots, taking more photos of our team in office, more videos of our team having fun, of agents doing different things, but also utilizing their own content, taking pictures that they have that they're proud of, and using that in our marketing. So it really gets people, it breaks it down. It showcases that vulnerability of we're real people here. We're not this headshot's great and it's pretty and it's useful for a lot of things, but we're not this structured, well manicured, person. We're real people with real feelings, and we are really passionate about what we do.
I love it. And one of the things that I was thinking earlier when I was on my last rant was that imagine being an agent looking for a team or a brokerage or a company to go work for. We talk about branding for the buyers and sellers, but we're all in the agent attraction business too. And do you want to be partnered with a brand that showcases their people, that is real, that is authentic, that's providing value to the marketplace? Let's dive into, say you're an agent that just does sphere of influence business. If you come in our organization and all you do is sphere of influence, by being in association with our systems, our process, our brand, who we are and what we represent, you will increase your sphere of influence business by at least 50%. Just by association. I feel very confident saying that. Now, do we have lead generation? Do we have coaching? Absolutely. We have all of it, right? But I think that too many people discount that. The power of, yes, people are working with Jenna, right? They love Jenna. They want to work with Jenna. But they also know who Jenna's associated with. And they also know that the brand that Jenna is with is giving to the community or taking from the community. They know the brand that Jenna is with is giving them value or they're not. They also know the brand that Jenna is with is hosting client events or they're not. And let's talk about emails for a minute, right? Too many people sleep on emails. Our past client emails have seen significant increases because we focused on it. We have 55,000 people in our database as of this morning. And our email open rates are what, 40%?
40%, if not higher, yeah.
Think about that for a minute. Right? And it's not like we send one email a month.
No, we sent 8 emails last week. That's more than an email a day.
At 40% open rate.
Yeah.
Because we're meeting our audience where they are. We're providing value. Now imagine being an agent that works for that team. Is that going to help you sell more real estate? They're engaging with the content that you're sending. They're saying, oh, this is good. Send me more. A lot of that content is educational, informational. It's community-based. We are just connecting them to the things they want to be connected to.
Yeah, it reminds me, we did a video testimonial, this great guy in our community, and he was talking about, he grew up with some of our agents and worked with them. He sold 3 properties with us now. And one of the things he talked about was, I already had a pre-existing relationship with, Ryan and Eric and Kristen. I already had that, but what blew me away and what set you apart was that when we got in that meeting, they still went through the buyer's presentation. They still treated me like a client. They gave me the best service ever. And it just took it that extra step because of the things that we offer, the value that we bring. That does a lot for your sphere of influence, the trust you're building in the community.
I remember that conversation and we were both blown away. It was just amazing to just witness that someone had that experience with us. It's really cool. But I remember him talking about the people behind the scenes. He gave credit to marketing, right? He gave credit to our photographers. He gave credit to our listing coordinators. He gave credit to our transaction coordinators. And he's just everyone that was behind the scenes. And he mentioned some of them by name, right?
Yeah.
When's the last time a client gave a shout out on a video testimonial to one of your operations member by name? Right? That's valuable. That's tremendously valuable to the clients, the community, also to the agents.
Yeah.
All right. Off of this high horse of I don't even know what we're talking about, but let's
video testimonials.
Yes, for sure. Let's shift gears, Jenna. Where do you want to take this?
Let's dive deep into, let's talk about email marketing. We've talked about it a little bit, and I think we've talked a lot about content. And you had mentioned, people sleep on that email marketing. I think if I could guess, and people probably heard that we did 8 emails last week and felt like, holy crap, that's way too many emails.
And how many people listening to this, if I could have them in an audience and raise their hand and be honest, how many of them thinks, well, those are just automations or drip plans? Nope.
No.
We don't. It's my podcast. We don't fuck around with automations and drip plans. We just don't. They just don't work. They're inauthentic. People know they're a drip. You can customize them all you want. You can say, well, AI wrote it. They freaking know it, right? Be authentic, be real, be genuine, be in the moment, right? And now, do we have certain drip plans that are in the background that are, if they're in a follow-up stage, we'll send an email? Sure, but they're very few and far between, right? They're just more of a, hey, we just want to make sure that we didn't lose touch, right? But we also don't let that handcuff us from doing in-the-moment content.
Yeah. The big thing is, when it comes to your email marketing, John Cheplack says this all the time, email what you're posting, email what you're posting on your social media. We even overthought this significantly. And I remember coming back, we went to his Maverick conference in Nashville, came back, and we had done a testimonial, or not a testimonial, sorry. We did a shout out of another agent on the All or Nothing in Real Estate brand, and you'd come in like, let's email that. And we're like, yeah, why haven't we emailed that?
Yep.
Like, that's something we post. Let's do it. It's value, it brings and it extra shout outs this person. So really think about what you're posting and then just email that out. And the more you do it, the more you can start looking at your audience, and really it gets in the weeds, but you can start building those segments and start really honing your message to the right people. And it gets better and better over time.
Yeah. I mean, just think about this for a second, right? Our database of 55,000 people, let's just say 25% open rate, which would be what? My math's not working. Like 13,000, 14,000 people.
Sure.
So let's say it's 20,000 people is conservative. So let's say 20,000 people each email open it. We sent 8 of them. That's 160,000 impressions in a week.
Yeah.
From free email that people say, oh, email doesn't work. Let's talk about brand. Let's talk about the average number of contact attempts it takes before someone makes a buying or selling decision. I didn't say phone call attempts. I said contact attempts. They see our brand each and every time. Some of those emails, we embed a video that we did of a market update or of this thing, or of that thing. And there's a lot of nuances to that to make sure that you're working. So don't listen to this. And if you're an action taker, I love you, but don't do what I did and go and upload all 55,000 people and send them all an email tomorrow. And I'm going to send them 8 emails this week. You'll get on the spam list quick, and they'll probably shut you down. So you have to build it slowly. You have to build it strategically. You have to top grade your audience is what I call it, meaning that who are the people that are engaging? We're going to send them more. We're going to get a higher score, and then we're going to send more. Then we're going to add more people to that list next week, and we're going to build it slowly and strategically. And then once you do that and you build it, it's the best marketing machine that you can have.
I mean, you kind of think about it like, when you are in a neighborhood or something, you're not going to just start off with every single neighborhood in Chicago. You're going to start off with one neighborhood, really work that neighborhood, and then go into another neighborhood and then master that one and slowly build and spread. It's the same thing with email marketing. Imagine it like a neighborhood. You're going to start with one group of people. You're going to nurture them, and then you're going to put out another piece of content to see if you can stimulate some more people. You're going to bring them in, and you're just going to keep growing that neighborhood.
Yeah. And this is a pro tip for them. And as a reminder to Jenna is, I think that we have a massive success if after 24, 48 hours, we resend to non-openers, which a lot of mail providers have. It's like we get an extra 15%, right? Open rate's a lot, right? Like, and that's a big difference. That moves the needle a lot, and we're not spamming the people that have already opened it.
Yeah.
Right. And so just little hacks like that will really help along the way. But you need to be emailing stuff, and it doesn't have to be the perfect. I'll be honest with you. Just like the best ad doesn't look like like an ad, the best email doesn't look like a newsletter.
Yeah.
Don't fall for all this hype. This is I'm in the trenches doing this, and Jenna, correct me if I'm wrong. Don't over template, don't over graphic any of your emails. Short, sweet, to the point, and value. Don't waste valuable real estate. Here's a pro tip. Here's how people read email. Top, bottom, middle. Subject line has to be a hook, has to be engaging or informational, so they'll want to click it first and foremost. Second is don't waste, hey, Jenna, how are you today? You lost them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they already know who you are because they saw the email. You already hooked them with the subject line straight to the value on line number 1. And then make sure you have something at the end that is of value, of substance. It can be, a lot of ours are like, we're really pushing home value links, right? Instant cash offer, get your home value here. And we get a lot of clicks from that, right?
Yeah.
I think we had 1.6% clicks on our last. It doesn't sound like a lot, but 1.6% of 55,000. It's a lot of people clicking on our home value, right?
Well, and to put that into perspective, there was one email I remember we sent that it was, I don't even remember what it was, but we had 78 clicks on that home offer. That's just one of the links that they clicked. Like, there was other spots that they clicked as well. If you have MailChimp, you can look at a map. It's really cool to see where they're engaging at, so you can use that to better structure your emails. We got 78 clicks on that home value link, and that's 78 people who took action on something.
What would you do with a business right now if you had 78 seller leads that came overnight that requested home value? How would that impact your business? We don't get that without this email marketing, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, so all this stuff together. So this is really, really good. Anything else on email?
I would, if there's a piece of advice I would give, this is something that we did and it's really helped us. And we've also changed some things with MailChimp, but start a spreadsheet or something to keep track of all of your subject lines and all of your open rates attached to those subject lines, so you can start to see what's working and what's not working. There's a lot of different, marketing and branding is really a lot of educated trial and error. It's you're trying something, you see, okay, this didn't hit the way I wanted it to. Let's tweak it a little bit here, and just kind of messing with that. But you can't do that if you don't keep record of it. And that was really beneficial to us. I remember you and I going through it and being like, well, no wonder this got a low open rate. This makes no sense. Why did we make this our subject?
Terrible subject line.
Yes,
No wonder
who
no one
came up
opened
with
it.
that? This girl. But we've been able to change that and get it to a place where now we're seeing, okay, no, now we're in a rhythm and we have a strategy, but you can't develop a strategy if you don't have a foundation.
And so we talked a lot about email, but I just want to go back. Let's go 30,000 foot view of just marketing in general. Email should be one of your facets of marketing, right? If you're not doing it, start doing it. And if you don't know what to send, what is the valuable content? So let's oversimplify this. At a minimum, send one valuable piece of content to your audience a week on social, via email, however else you can distribute it. You have one per week, right? Here's a simple framework. Do a market update once a week. Do an educational piece of content for buyers or sellers. Hey, top 3 reasons why you should buy right now. Why interest rates aren't as bad as you think. Whatever is educational that you're having conversations with people around. And I recommend doing more than one a week, by the way, but at a minimum. Then also do like what's happening in your community, right? What's happening next month in our community? What is going on? What are the things I should know about? And when you become the community resource, you're way more than just a real estate company. And now again, trust, authority, all of that. And then also, what if you were to highlight a local business once a month? You go to a local business, you do a spotlight, you can just bring an iPhone, right? It doesn't have to, cameras on phones are so sophisticated now. You can update it. You can edit it in an app that you can download for free. Like there's no excuse to be doing video in this marketplace. There just isn't. But so what is really cool about the business highlight is not only does that attach you to that business owner in your community, but also when you distribute it and create a media package and you send it to them, now they share it with their audience that has your branding on it. And so you are helping them grow their business and giving back to your community, which also in turn grows your business, your brand authority, et cetera.
Yeah, they absolutely love it. When we do media packages for all of those community spotlights. We've gotten nothing but positive feedback. It's really cool to see them repurpose it too.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really valuable.
100%. And so I don't want to hit on video really quick. Number one, video's king, right? Like, I don't know the percentages, but it would blow your mind what percentage of media consumed is video, right? Like any ads that work, like that's just what works. You have to do video. And if you're scared to do video, I have bad news for you. People already know what you look like. They already know what you sound like. Get over yourself, remove your ego, and realize you're doing this to help people the biggest purchase and sale of their lives. So get out of your own way, get out of your comfort zone, and do this to help more people. All right, now that that's being said, you don't have to have fancy equipment. You don't have to have fancy editing software. You don't have to have a fancy camera. Just grab your phone, turn it on selfie mode, look at it, and talk to it. Yeah. That's it. I'll be honest with you. We have fancy equipment. You know what some of our best performing videos are? Matt just pulls out in the heat of the moment, does a selfie video, doesn't even send it to our editor, adds captions on Instagram and post it, and sometimes it goes crazy.
Yeah.
Because people want real, they want authentic, they want genuine, they want that stuff. And so you have to give that to them. And so just don't overthink it is my whole point, is just keep it simple. And I'm a king of repurposing. If you're a busy agent and you don't have a lot of time, Guess what? That one video that you shot per week of those tips, those 4 frameworks I just gave you. Let's create copyright around it, and let's make a post on social media. What if we could take that exact thing and create a graphic for it? What if we could take that same thing, we could put it in an email, and we could embed the video in the email, right? Like that one piece of content now is distributed across multiple channels in multiple ways, and that is your content.
Yeah.
That will keep you busy. Instead of trying to do more content, make more of what you have. Do good content, and then how can I repurpose and redistribute this content in different ways so that more of my audience can see it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is like, it's so simple. And I think that marketing, because it is so complex, and I think it immediately, for people who don't have that marketing brain, it sends them into overdrive immediately, because it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. But if there's one moral to this entire podcast, it's less is more. Keep it simple. Be authentic. Just be yourself. Like, that's what will resonate with your audience.
Yep. And I think too, let's be honest, most people listening to this are real estate agents. So you're probably not overly list focused and overly, hey, I have to be organized like Jenna is. So maybe you don't have the same struggles as her, but let's realize that you don't have to be. What she shared with you is, for our marketing to improve, she had to be less organized, less list focused. And so there's hope for you too. Just make sure it's a priority every day. Wake up every single day and say, well, how am I going to provide value to my audience? What is valuable to my audience today? And just provide them value. It's really that simple.
And sometimes, and that value, like I said, don't overcomplicate it. I mean, we even had, there's a street in this town, Rolla, that we're close to, that they're renovating or ripping apart. People are really pissed off about it.
Let me preface this really quick. One of the things that we've been focusing on that has really helped our engagement, which I want you to share those numbers if you know them, that's helped our engagement on social, helped our email, helped our branding and our marketing and our authority score in our marketplaces, that we've just been being very intentional with community-based content. What new business is coming to the area? What is going on in the storms, right? We went straight to, how can we tell everybody where's the resources to go to? How can we help you? Here's what's happened in case you don't live here. Can we go check your home for you, right? We went straight and pivoted to how can we be of value to the community? And then that theme led to this post that went just ballistic. So share.
So like I said, there's this place in Rolla. We've got Missouri S&T. They ripped out this street. It's Highway 63. If you're from Rolla and you're listening to this, you're pissed off about it.
Missouri S&T is a big college.
Yes, everyone's angry about it. And our marketing coordinator, Tyler, was out in Rolla and was like, I'm just going to take out the drone, take some pictures, and let's post them. And we did. And that thing had crazy reach. I want to say it's right now, it's still growing. It was at 35,000 reach people. Organically reached. And then the engagement on it was in probably the 15 to 20,000s. I don't remember that one off the top of my head, but it was a really well performing post. And all it was just a simple update. Tyler sent me the photos. I did some research because I didn't realize that this road was ripped out. People were pissed off about it, and made a little post about it. And that thing went crazy. We didn't even have to nurture it that much because our audience nurtured it for us.
But that goes back to, I believe in like themes and everything and principles. And if you just realize marketing is message to market match, we entered the conversation going on in the community's head, and the engagement went through the roof.
Yeah.
Now, that's a community-based thing, right? So you won't always have those. But if we take that principle and we break it down to, what does a buyer need to know in today's world? What does a seller need to know in today's world? What does an agent need for value in today's world? And we just really think about those things each and every day, and just brain dump and write those things out. Grab your phone and just shoot a quick video. That is where you can increase your marketing tenfold. I think it's just, we overcomplicate it. We want the perfect post. We want the perfect content calendar, and it just does not exist. And I will tell you, even if you find the perfect content calendar, the more that you do it, the more your audience gets used to it. And guess what? It starts dulling the message, and they start seeing it over and over again. And they're like, that's not relevant anymore. And you want to make sure that your relevancy score continues to climb. The value you are providing. I've said value a lot. I think it's so important that people understand what I mean by value. It's not what's valuable to you. It's what's valuable to them. Enter the conversation going on in their head.
Like valuable to me would be, how do I sell more real estate, right? But what is valuable to a seller in today's world? Hey, is now a good time to sell? If I were to sell, how would it impact my decision? Are there a lot of buyers looking right now? What's the inventory levels? What are average sales price doing? What about the interest rates? Man, I don't want to get my home ready to show, right? Like all of these things sellers are thinking right now. And guess when the sellers are thinking that? Way before they become a fucking lead in your system.
Yeah.
They know they're going to sell way before they come in your database, most of the time. And so what if you could answer those questions before they have to reach out to you?
Yeah.
And you are the one entering the conversation going on in their mind. You are going to be the logical first choice when they're ready to sell their home. That's what marketing is. That's how you grow a marketing brand. That's how you grow a marketing business.
Yeah. I mean, the more simple, I think one other mistake a lot of people make is we talk really above our audience and
Yep.
we go way too in the weeds with stuff. I mean, I'm guilty of doing that probably in this podcast, but we go way too in the weeds with things. And we have to remember real estate something, if you're an agent, if you're listening to this, like you're in this every single day. A lot of the things that feel like second nature to you, your clients have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Like dumb it down and break down. Listen to the dumb questions that people ask that you might feel is a dumb question. My guess would be if that person's asking it, there's probably a slew of other people who are asking that same thing.
100%. And I got this from John Cheplack because I struggle with that. I don't like repeating myself. It's just a flaw of mine. I just don't like it. And he said, you have to be a chief repeating officer. And I think that it goes for leadership, but that also goes for our buyers and sellers. The same people have same situations, same concerns, same struggles. And so what he said to me was that your average is excellence to others. And that goes for everyone. That's not saying that I'm better than anyone. That's just saying that we all have a gift. We all see things from a different lens. And so what you think is normal, or you've said it 100 times, there may be someone that they're hearing it for the first. And so just keep sharing that valuable stuff with people and it will resonate with the right people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Jenna, how do you want to close this out?
Thanks for having me.
That's perfect.
Thanks.
Nailed it. Awesome, guys. Well, I hope this was valuable. This is something I'm really, really passionate about, and Jenna is as well. And so if there's anything that we can help you marketing related, we just want to be a resource. Reach out to us. We're happy to help, happy to answer your questions. We're happy to do everything except for do the work for you. There is work required on your end, but we will give you the playbook. We will help you build whatever you want to build. And so it's really, really cool. Just to give you some substance on where this has come from is like our engagement on social media has increased how much in the last 90 days, 30 days?
90% in the last 90 days.
90% increase. And we were already number one in our marketplace for engagement by far. It's increased by 90% in the last 30 days. By following this framework and really the only thing that changed was Jenna went to the Maverick event and she really, that light bulb finally went off for her of like, okay, I got to throw the content calendar out the window. I got to be in real time. And I've just saw so many subtle changes of that, and our audience is engaging like crazy. Because by the way, we didn't spend our way there. What has our ad budget changed at all?
No,
not at all.
Anything we're decreasing.
Yeah, because we don't have to, because we're
our
doing it
organic's
organically.
doing well.
Yeah, and so all of that to say, like, our email marketing is through the roof. Everything is working really, really well. In addition to, like, Jenna's really, really helped with the details and list process of the 3 recruiting funnels that we're selling to agents right now. John Cheplack and I are partnered in that. And so if you're interested in figuring out how, I don't know, Matt, this marketing thing sounds great for buyers and sellers, but I also need to recruit agents. I have the plug and play built for you recruiting funnels that I'm happy to have that conversation with you. You can check it out at 3recruitingfunnelsbuilt.com. We'll link it in the notes too. Again, 3recruitingfunnelsbuilt.com. We actually adjusted it because I like to over deliver. It's 4 funnels now. So you have 4 funnels built for you it's literally the marketing playbook for how to get recruits.
Yeah.
And so if that's interesting to you, check that out. But I hope you guys found value from this episode. We love sharing stuff on marketing and helping agents grow. And I know for a fact, if you apply this stuff, you will grow your business. So Jenna, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Guys, we'll catch you next time.